And we're live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to another Monday night chill stream. Make sure to remember to smash up that like button. Even if you're watching this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, later on in the week, and you didn't make it for the Monday night chill stream because you got work or school or whatever, family, and you catch it in the rerun, just take a minute, smash up the like button. I appreciate some feedback. And with that, let's see what's going on this week. This week's title, I changed like 4 times. I was going to do a bunch of different things, but this week's title is "Believing is Seeing." And so, one of the things we're going to do tonight is I'm going to show you how you believe things. That what you believe makes you see stuff and makes you miss stuff as well. So we're going to go over that. We're going to go over some other things. But first, this is the funniest thing to continue from last week or whenever it was when I got called for jury duty. So here's the state of New Jersey, right? State of New Jersey sent me a check for $5. I actually got paid. I'm the only white supremacist to ever get a check from the state of New Jersey for jury duty. So I actually have gotten paid to be a white supremacist, and that makes me entirely unique amongst all the veterans amongst all the veterans of the Charlottesville debacle. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that $5 check that the court sent me. I don't know what I should spend it on. To be honest, it's $5 is, it buys less Bitcoin now than it did a couple of weeks ago. But who knows? Maybe I'll just buy something anti-Semitic. But what is $5? $5 worth of pork or something like that. Anyway, that's. I thought that was pretty funny when I saw that in the mail. I was like, "What the hell are the court sending me? Like, what is this?" It's a check for 1 day's service. Okay, all right. Trenton, Governor Murphy, thank you, and whatever state legislature, thank you for acknowledging my service. The service that I provide, which nobody. Listen, I used to ask people to donate Bitcoin, to donate money to me. Nobody's giving me donations. You know what I mean? The only people that pay me for not working is the state. And let's be honest, the state pays a lot of people for not actually doing their jobs. But what do we got, man? We got so much stuff. And talking with that sports ball guy, I keep going back and forth with him about the market and some other stuff, which 2 weeks ago I was doing great. Now I'm getting my head caved in. I'm not happy about that. But whatever. We'll see what the next few weeks brings. They're talking about inflation and interest rates and blah 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 blah. And one of the first political buttons I ever saw was called WIN, Whip Inflation Now, and it was from the Gerald Ford administration. And the whole idea was that inflation could be brought under control in America if just the consumers would change their spending habits, which is insane. You're not the ones that print the money. The government, you know what I mean? The Federal Reserve prints the money and the government distributes it. So, like, how are we the end user responsible for this economic condition? Same thing, like, when Ben Franklin says to that woman, she says, "What have you brought us, Mr. Franklin?" He says, "A republic, madam, if you can keep it." They created this thing, but it's your responsibility to protect it and keep it going. Whatever America 2.0 is going to be, and there will be an America 2.0. Whatever it's going to be, there's going to be a mechanism a legal mechanism in the Constitution to correct domestic threats, because the domestic threats, I'm going to go over some of that stuff tonight. I'm going to talk about it. We're still in January, so it's just a little over a year ago. 1 year, 2 weeks ago was the attempted bombing of the attempted bombing of the DNC, the Democratic National Committee headquarters in Washington, D.C. And so for tonight's show, you're gonna stop being homosexual white communists for a little bit, and I'm gonna make you armchair spy masters. But before we do that, you have to have training. You know what I mean? You can't join the intelligence services without training. You know what I mean? And so we're going to train you to pay attention. I've talked over and over again about what's called the selective attention test. And tonight, or whenever you're watching this, tonight you're going to take it. So this video is 5 minutes, 12 seconds. And you go ahead and watch this, and I'll see you on the other side.
This is the shell game. I'm going to hide this Hershey's Kiss under this cup, and the object is for you to pay attention and follow along and try to guess which cup the Hershey's Kiss is under at the end. Try to guess if it's in the left cup, the middle cup, or the right cup. Let's check the left cup. The middle cup? If you guess the middle cup, you got it right. So now we're gonna make it a little more complicated. I've added an extra pair of hands and I've added additional colors here. But that's only to distract you from the pink cups. The pink cups will always have, one of the pink cups will always have the Hershey Kiss underneath. So let's get started. So can you guess where the Hershey Kiss is? Right again. You're so good at this.
Yeah, but
Okay. So did you see any ducks in that video?
no. No.
During the video, a duck came out briefly.
Oh, there it is. No, I didn't see a duck.
I think I honestly lost it at like the very beginning. But I
yeah,
feel like
I
left
did.
one.
It's on the left.
Okay, I didn't lose it then. I did know that.
The,
So
the
you-
chocolate was under the left cup.
Yeah, we did.
But did you see the duck?
What?
Sorry, did you ask?
Did you ask us to see the duck?
Oh, there's a duck.
What?
What?
I knew this was gonna
Wait,
happen, but I
what?
still didn't see the duck.
No, I didn't see the duck either time around.
Did you see any ducks in the video?
What? Wait, what?
Did you see any ducks in the video?
No. Wait. What? Oh, what?
Did you notice there was more than 2 sets of hands?
No.
Thank you.
Did
very
you
much.
see the 5th hand?
I saw the hand. I saw the 5th hand. I was like, wait.
No.
No, I didn't.
And there's
Oh,
the 5th
what?
hand. There's the 5th hand.
I did notice the colors changed.
Okay. Which one's changed?
Did they start out blue and turn green or green and turn blue? Yeah, I did notice that changed.
He saw the duck and the 5th hand.
Wait.
Did you happen to notice there were blue cups in the beginning, but green cups at the end? I knew there was something wrong with the colors at the end. Oh, I knew it. What?
What?
I knew there was something wrong with the colors at the end.
It's okay. Thank you for participating.
You should give her an A.
Yeah. It was.
Okay, so the point of showing that entire video with the family reactions is the people who look at this stuff, who take this test, and this is like a real life test. This is not a school test, okay? You think you know what you're looking for, you think you know what to pay attention to, and you get it wrong. You just get it wrong. Now they're all young and they think it's hilarious that they missed the little toy duck that came in and out twice, that they missed the 5th hand coming in from the top, that they missed, you know, the blue cups turned into green cups. They think it's hilarious, right? It's so funny because they react like children react to a puppet show. But this is what happens in life, and this is what happens in media. This is why nonstop 24/7 staring at a screen will have you as lost as any human being, or more lost than any human being could ever possibly be. You don't have any chance because you more and more desperately focus on what you think is important, and you're missing an enormous amount of things. If you think of all the times, even all just the sayings like "love is blind," that came out of left field. Getting blindsided, all of those phrases, those old adages and cliches refer to this phenomenon, okay? And this phenomenon goes across the entire spectrum. And it doesn't matter what your IQ is or what your education is. That it simply doesn't matter. There's a limitation to how the brain works. And that limitation can be overcome, right? It can be overwhelmed, and people can put things over on you. That's the fucking magic that always seems to happen. That's the bad luck that seems to follow you everywhere, because you're focusing on the wrong thing. You're drawing the wrong conclusions from the wrong information, and the world will always be a mystery to you. The world will always be strange and unpredictable because you're looking at the wrong things, drawing the wrong conclusions, right? And the world is a magical fucking a universe of bad luck, and that's simply not true, and it's never been true. And all of your beliefs that but I went to this education, I speak 7 languages, you know, whatever coping strategy you have to comfort yourself when on occasion you're confronted with this reality, you know, that's individualistic, but guaranteed time and time again, you will always get it wrong. You will always miss things, okay? Some things you miss aren't really that important. Some things you miss are huge, right? Some things are opportunities you missed. Other times you dodged a bullet, you know, you like something bad happened and you didn't even know and you just went right past it. And it seems lucky, but that is the phenomenon of selective attention. And it applies to everyone, everywhere, all the time. So when in 1974, when Gerald Ford, or 75, whatever it was, Gerald Ford was like, we're going to whip inflation. They had just gone off the gold standard and started the money printer. And they're like, we're going to whip inflation by having the American consumer buy less stuff. Hold on, I got a comment. Who's in the comments? Insane Spurgman. My coping strategy is watching people like you. Well, that's pretty good, Insane Spurgman. Welcome to the show. So anyway, that was the Ford administration's attempt to control inflation. But like I said, they're the ones that print the fucking money. Americans are the ones that use the money, and they're blaming you for using the very thing that they gave you to transact, right? For goods and services. Okay, so I said I was going to take you from the homosexual white communist who's waiting for Hitler to burn the Constitution and white Wakanda to come. You're gonna stop that. You're gonna start a new career tonight, this very night. We're promoting you to investigator for the CIA counterterrorism squad, whatever they call it, and we're gonna investigate the bombing at the Democratic National Committee 1 year, 2 weeks ago. We've got some video for you to look at, and I'm gonna run the video. Just gonna let it run, and then I'm gonna go over some of the stuff that I've seen in the video, and perhaps, and then we'll run it again, and then you check and see, right, the second time around, if you see the kind of things that I see. So get ready, special agents. Pay attention. All right, so think about what you just saw. Insane Spurgman in the chat. The Great Reset is the only way to prevent civilizational collapse. Well, since you've never been through a civilizational collapse, I'm gonna discount your opinion on this, Insane Spurgman. All right, the video you just watched. I said last year was 2 years ago, whatever. 2021. The DNC bomber. What did you see? There were essentially 3 pieces of video, and 2 of which were, well, it was 4 pieces, but only 3 had any information that you could draw conclusions from. One was so washed out and overheated, like it pixelated, that it was like, it looked like a thermal fucking imaging camera, like you see on those fucking Predator drone videos. But whatever. Okay, so the bomber's wearing a gray hoodie and walking along a sidewalk. They appear to be confused, right? And then they walk along the sidewalk a little more. Then they put down the bag of bombs, right? And They stand there, they take out their phone, okay? And then a guy walks by walking his dog. And the bomber turns towards the guy. Now they're both wearing masks because it's COVID, right? But you're carrying around 2 bombs, you're about to commit a federal crime. Here's a dude walking his dog who's potentially, could identify you, right? Even though you got your mask and your little hoodie on. And what do? Would you turn towards him or would you turn away from that? Which would you naturally do? If you're about to commit a crime and you see a witness, an eyewitness, pop up out of nowhere, would you turn towards them or would you turn away from them? The natural urge, of course, would be to turn away from them. But in the video, the bomber turns directly towards the dog walker. Now, here's something I noticed because I go down to Washington, D.C. area, Fredericksburg, Maryland, and stuff like that. I go down there a lot. Everyone's polite. Everyone acknowledges each other. Everyone's polite. I look like a fucking bum. I dress in $6 worth of fucking clothes. I go into these private jet ports. People still say hello to me. They acknowledge you. They incline their head. They say hi. They do that to everyone. Everyone's trained to be polite to everyone. Now, the private jet passengers, they will be moderately polite to the front desk people and ignore everyone else. But everyone in the Washington, D.C. area, everybody is polite to everyone else. You have to be because you never know if this person's a supervisor or you're going to, you don't know. Everyone is polite to everyone in Washington, D.C., and they acknowledge each other. Now, in this video, the bomber has a mask on, albeit, or supposedly because of COVID, and the dog walker has a mask on, supposedly for COVID. Now, even if they don't want to be polite to each other by acknowledging each other's presence, wouldn't they be paranoid? Like, oh shit, am I going to catch COVID from that person? Except the dog walker goes right by like this. Dog walker, straight eyes, straight forward, him and the dog, straight past. Doesn't pause, walks right past the bomber. The other thing, of course, the super obvious thing, is the bomber's making a phone call. They have the bomber making a phone call, looking around like this, holding the phone inside the hoodie at 7:40 p.m. or whatever the fuck. Now, listen, I didn't graduate from CIA super spook school. I didn't train at the farm in Virginia or whatever the fuck they call it. You know what I mean? I didn't, I didn't get my A#1 detective secret decoder ring in the cereal box, but I'm thinking you call the phone company and say, hey, at this address, what's the nearest cell tower that received or made a phone call or a text at 7:40 p.m.? Then I'm thinking that's where the suspect list, that goes right to the top of the suspect list. Who made a phone call at 7:40 p.m.? Because you can see on video, they're making a phone call. And now this is 2 years later, right? It's 2 years since the bombing. And no professional investigator has noticed this. Nobody from the FBI, nobody from the Metropolitan Police, nobody looking at this says, hey, wait a minute, they made a phone call right there on video. Why can't you just figure out who the fucking made the phone call? And then you got your bomber. But that would be thinking about what you see. People don't do that. They just don't do that. The next set of video is where it's white everywhere. It's super overheated white, and the bomber sits on a bench and appears to be doing something, hunched over like this, right? And we're looking down at an angle at the bomber, but the bomber, actually turns and looks directly at the security camera. I'm going to play it again and you watch. You see when it's all whited out, like it's super heated, like infrared night vision video, which of course has been heavily modified. It's not the original video. The bomber looks directly at the security video, then looks back and starts to get off the bench, and then says, no, comes back, and then tries to look around furtively, and then walks away from the bench. It's the most terrible federal theater. These are all drama club failures that now work at CIA. And from what I understand, from what I've been told, only the top 30% of CIA officers get to do field operations. If this is the top 30%, oh my God, I cannot imagine what the fucking bottom 30% is. We got more comments. What do we got? Virgil Doc, Purple Heart, welcome to the show, sir. So then you see the bomber walk down an alleyway. There isn't much to learn there. The final shot, and I'm going to show it again. The final shot is the bomber walking past. There's an awning. It says like Plaza Hotel or something like that, a Ritz Plaza. It's an awning like they have them in New York all the time. So it's a canvas awning and the bomber walks past, right? Walks past the awning, and in the road there's a police car coming in the opposite direction, and the bomber waves to the police car, kind of waves, and then realizes, oh shit, I'm not supposed to be waving, and then does like some weirdo thing. So I'm going to play the video again and watch for those things I just described. Watch for the bomber making the phone call and not acknowledging the dog walker, and the dog walker not acknowledging them. You know what I mean? And then watch for when the screen goes white and they're sitting on the bench. Watch them look right. They're going to look over their shoulder, look right at the security camera, and then of course watch them wave to the police at the end. So you've seen that, right? The bomber's lost and confused, right? And then they put the bombs down. And then the guy walks past, and they pretend to be. Were they just pretending to be on the phone? And why would they turn towards the dog walker and not away from the dog walker? If you're going to pretend to be on the phone, like hello, 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 why wouldn't you do that? Why would you turn directly towards the only person who could ID you for a federal crime? Like you wouldn't do that. And then they walk off like la-di-da. Now they're not lost anymore. You know, they look over their shoulder as soon as they sit on that bench. Look over their shoulder, right at the camera. Like, how would you know there's a camera up and to the right behind you? There's no way you would know that unless they walked you through it already, unless you had practiced it. You know what I mean? And then, of course, at the very end, doing that kind of the wave. It's not a wave. It's a stretch. I'm just stretching. I'm stretching as the police car drives. The police car drives right by, nice and easy. You know what I mean? So, again, I am not a highly trained super agent. I don't have a degree in behavioral psychology from whoever gives degrees in behavioral psychology or whatever the shit. I'm not a profiler. I'm not a trained profiler. I didn't come from spec ops with it, like, okay, all that bullshit, right? So, help us identify this. I'm just a fucking schmuck who delivers boxes for a living. And I noticed some things that are so fucking wrong about that video, it's unreal. But if we're going to pretend that it's a legit video, and let's pretend for the sake of argument that it's legit surveillance video, the bomber made a phone call at 7:40. Find out who made that phone call. That's it. Or find out what cell phone was on that street at 7:40. Right? Because if the phone is on, even if they only pretended to make a call, when you go from cell tower to cell tower, right? The cell tower records what phones are where, right? That's how they know to keep the signal going. So you could solve this using signals intelligence in about 3 fucking seconds. But nobody, no professional investigator, not from NYPD, not from FBI, not from any of the alphabet agencies, none of them point this out, okay? No reporter points it out. Why don't you see it? The reason why you don't see it is because they tell you what to look for. They set up the expectation. They have the dog walker and some other shit going on, and you completely miss this. But when I watch these videos again and again and again and again, not for the thrill of it, not because it's entertaining, but because I want to learn, what am I looking at? What am I seeing? I use video a lot of times as a tool. What am I seeing? Well, what's going on here? Does that make sense? Have I ever seen that before? Can I figure what the likely outcome is going to be based on what I've seen so far? That's what I do. And it's great, these short little videos, and it's beautiful that they leave them up on YouTube. You know what I mean? The Spencer video was only 27 seconds. This one's a bit longer. And obviously the selective attention test is a 5-minute video. But it's acts of domestic terrorism, racism and anti-Semitism. Racism and anti-Semitism are the 2 sins that are so unforgivable that the only way we can purify ourselves is to burn the Constitution. Burning the Constitution is the only way to rid ourselves of the sins of racism and anti-Semitism. And that's what you're going to get over and over and over and over. And there's tons of people who think of themselves as dissidents who are going to cheer like motherfuckers when they light the Constitution on fire. And I cannot have more contempt. I cannot have more contempt for people that moronic. And a lot of other people will be cheering as well, because they will be told, we just burn the Constitution, and then we can get rid of racism, then we can get rid of anti-Semitism, and then we can be unified. We can unify. And people will believe it. And all the holes in the story, all the ridiculous, gigantic nonsense that shows that they're lying, people are going to miss it. They're just going to miss it. And the reason why is they're going to be focused on whatever, racism or anti-Semitism or somebody, whatever, some girl's fucking shaking her ass in the middle of the road. Like, there'll be enough distractions there that they can just drive this fucking thing straight on. Just drive it straight on through. So what else? Where else are we? Oh, the other thing is Bitcoin's at like 23,000. Bitcoin's been pumping, and the reason why Bitcoin's pumping, and this is the thing they really want to distract you from, and this is something that you probably should pay attention to, because this is going to drive a ton of behavior, really all behavior, for the next, I don't know, until America 2.0 comes up. And this is, I used to have this as a static meme. I found the video, and this one I love. You watch that video and you go, when's it going to end? When's it going to stop? And the answer is it's never going to stop. Print to go burr. That's when we say, when Bitcoin people say print to go burr, that's the meaning they're talking about. And the fact that you've seen gasoline go up, the stock market's gone up, prices in the grocery store have gone up, right? That's inflation, okay? And that the fact that people can buy less and less and have to struggle harder and harder just to stay in the same place, that's going to be a bigger driving factor than anything you see. Anytime you're watching television or reading a newspaper, whatever, somebody else is definitely trying to stick ideas, particularly during any TV, any presentation like that. They can set the frame with which you can think, and then guide you right to where they want you to be. Okay, but at the end of the day, in the background, at the end of the day, it's that money printer that rules them all and will ruin everything. Okay, you say, well, but the Fed just raised interest rates and blah 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 blah. They're about to crash the economy. You know what I mean? They're very close to crashing the economy, and they're going to have to back off. You know, they're going to have to promise not to raise rates so much, and they're going to have to print more. And the debt ceiling, Congress has hit the debt ceiling. All this big drama. Trust me, Congress is going to borrow more money and put you deeper in debt. I can guarantee you that. That much I can guarantee you. It's not like all of a sudden we're like fucking $33 trillion in debt, and then all of us, oh my God, now we have to be fiscally responsible. That's not going to happen. So the money printer is one of the things you should be paying attention to, because that's going to control prices, that controls human behavior, what people can do and they can't do. And if you take your eye off the money printer, you're taking your eye off the source of almost all of the world's problems, because money touches everything and it controls most things. It doesn't really control everything, but it touches everything and it controls most things. And that this is a taboo subject, right? And no one's allowed to talk about this. No one dares to talk about it. That's why you should want to talk about it. That's why you should want to hear people talk about it in an honest fashion. The money printer creates the inflation. It's not the fact that you want to eat a hamburger like you did last year or 5 years ago or whatever. You're not the cause of inflation, okay? And it's not your responsibility to maintain a constitution you didn't have any design in. You know what I mean? You didn't have any input in its design. You know, you don't particularly get any direct benefit the way the elites get a direct benefit. The faster you understand that, the faster you will get out of a lot of traps, a lot of dead ends, and a lot of whatever, you know, a lot of psychotic shit that's going on in your head. Because was this in Saintsburg, man? Was this just a false flag? It's just a false flag. It's just federal crime to frame Americans into believing there's terrorists everywhere. That's all it is. It's some minor thing, you know what I mean? As soon as we torch that, as soon as we light up that fucking Constitution, oh, it's all going to burn away all those sins. All your sins will go up in flames, and then everything will be fine. It's, you know, the fact that your federal government is openly doing false flag acts of terrorism on American soil, you know, in front of video cameras, even though, yes, it's shitty federal theater. It's bad. It's the CIA drama club once again showing what a bunch of worthless fuck-ups they truly are. But they effectively control the United States. They control the heartland, and that's all they need to control. If they, what did I just see? I saw a flag like women's rights in Iran or something. They're just, listen, they have full spectrum dominance, and they're going to push forward on everything. If they fail in Syria, so what? As long as they keep control of the United States. They got Kanye under control. They have everyone dismiss him as a fucking loon. You know what I mean? They got to put on a black fucking Al-Qaeda mask and say, I love Hitler. Like, perfect. There will never ever be a rational, fact-based conversation about elite power, who wields it, and is it wielded in within the law, right? Within the Constitution. That conversation is never going to happen. So don't wish for it to happen. I mean, you guys are not Constitution guys. You're, please Hitler, come back and fix shit, guys. But you're really not that smart. You know what I mean? You're nowhere near as smart as you even think you are. You're a lot less smart than you think you are. And I ask questions nobody else asks that you don't have any fucking answers to, which is, why does democracy rule the fucking earth? That one you can't figure out. I'm a high school dropout. I figured out a question too tough for you to fucking answer, right? So, you know, too tough for anyone to fucking answer, because you don't know. This is what you were born into, and this is what the world looks like. You don't question any of it, and you don't probe the edges of any of this shit. You know what I mean? You don't ask. You really don't think, although you imagine you do. You're really not smart, although you imagine that you are. You're always going to get shit wrong, because, like I said, you look at the wrong things, you draw the wrong conclusions from them, and that's why the world is always a fucking mystery. That's why things just appear to happen magically. Why this? Why that? You're like a child, because you have a child's mind. Why this? Why that? Why is the sky blue? You know, why does the money printer go burr? You need an adult understanding of how the world works, and you have to look at real world things and draw rational conclusions. But most people really can't do that. They just click on the next video and click on the next video and click on the next video, and they never learn anything. And you think, well, it doesn't really affect me, but I promise you it does. Shit sticks in the back of your head from decades ago, things that you thought were true that are absolutely untrue. And it's part of what you believe about the world, okay? But and you don't question it now. When you go back and look at it, you're like, oh my God, how did I ever believe that? Oh my God, that is so fake. You know, you like, it's things that when you say them out loud, people think you're fucking crazy. They think you're absolutely crazy. I got a link to there's a documentary on YouTube. It's called "Was It Only a Paper Moon?" And they just basically showed that the moon landing was fake. You know, this guy goes to NASA. This was like in 1985. It's like in 1985. He goes to NASA. He says, "How come we haven't gone back to the moon?" This is like maybe 1990s. And the guy from NASA says, "We lost the technology." That's what he goes. What? He goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "We lost the technology." He says, "Well, why don't you get the mission records? You know, the records from." He says, "Oh, we lost it." Like, from what? From all 5 missions? Yeah, we lost all the paperwork from all 5 missions. They said, "When did you lose?" The guy's like, "Well, when did you lose this? Who lost it?" And the guy's like, "I'm not answering any questions. I'm not answering any questions." But it's a good question. How do we, you know, how come we didn't go back to the moon? I was just watching a video of the moon car, the moon buggy. Remember that? That is a car. They hit this little tiny space capsule that they sent all the way to the moon, and it's so desperate, it's tiny. Everybody's cramped up. You got to breathe in the little suits. You got to wear the fucking oxygen mask inside the thing, right? But they invented a car in 1972. They had a car, an electric car. I'll show you a video next week. An electric car that folds up flat as a pancake. They stuck it underneath the moon. The lunar lander flew to the moon, took the car off flat as a pancake, unfolded it, drove it around the moon, and then left it there. And you believe that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Where is the technology where we have cars that fold up flat as pancakes? Did we lose that technology too? Is that lost along with the Apollo mission fucking data? Like, how much was really lost? So, I mean, Teslas are electric cars, and I don't see them fold up flat as a pancake. You know what I mean? I don't see them fold up at all. I see a couple of them crash on the side of the road. But think about it. We sent a 4-wheel drive electric car to the moon in 1972 that folds up flat as a pancake, and you can put it underneath your space capsule. And apparently it doesn't shift the weight, and I don't know, it doesn't weigh anything or something like that, right? And people believe that. And you look at that, you look at the video now and you go, holy shit. That is the fakest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life. But I saw that when I was 7 years old. When I was 7 years old, I believed everything. Nobody questioned anything you saw on TV. And plus, you're a kid anyway. I look at it now and I go, Jesus Christ, that is the fakest fucking shit you've ever fucking seen. You look at it and you ask the question, where's the folding car technology? Why can't we fold up a car like a pancake and put it underneath something? Think of all the parking spaces that would save in Manhattan. Think of all the parking spaces that could be saved. You know what I mean? At big sports venues and concerts. If you could just drive your car up to somewhere, fold it up like a suitcase, put it in a little rack, right? Think of how much easier commuting would be. But I guess we lost the folding car technology too. There's tons of shit that you believe happened that never happened. And the stuff that they show you happened, that is as fake as the fucking day is long. As fake as the fucking day is long. And as soon as you look at it again and watch it again, and then start asking questions like, hey, why this? Why that? Like, why even bring a car to the moon in the first place? Like, what was the reason for bringing a car to the moon? Oh, so we could explore further. Okay, why not just land in a different spot? Oh no, you can't land there because it's not safe to land. Okay, if it's not safe to land a spaceship there, why is it safe to drive the moon buggy there? You know what I mean? Like any of these questions, people are like, what the fuck? And of course, we're coming up on like 50 years, and the question is, why haven't we gone back to the moon? NASA's budget is $25 billion a year. I don't know where the fuck that money's going, but it ain't going to space, because space is as fake as fuck. Judas Fly Chai, the based Persian Michelin guy. James, did you talk about that homosexual couple who molested that kid? That literally is every homosexual couple ever. No, I'm not sure which ones you're talking about. I don't know, Judas Fly Chai, but all homosexuals reproduce via rape. There is no natural way for homosexuals to reproduce other homosexuals. All homosexuals are products of rape or coercion, whatever you want to call it. So to pretend otherwise is to pretend shit that is to be subject to a speech code by people who are not honest. Yeah, Judas, I don't watch a lot of the news, man. I watch like some stock market stuff. I watch Bitcoin stuff, but I don't have a television. I don't. You know, if it's on the front page of the papers, yeah, okay. You know, I might catch it if it's on the front page of the New York Times. I'll walk past a newsstand or something like that. But I don't read the papers anymore. Don't read the papers anymore because to me it's all. Listen, it's all propaganda. It's sophisticated propaganda or simple propaganda. It's persuasive propaganda or it's unpersuasive propaganda. But it's still all propaganda. You know what I mean? It's not. None of those people are paid to get the story straight, ever, like ever. Forget about they have an ideological axe to grind. They suck at their jobs as it is. You know what I mean? And they're told to write stuff that's that's absurd. That's fucking absurd. Now we got comments. Judas Fly Chai, always very active in comments. Red Pill Me on the Daily Wire. Again, that's an outlet I don't pay attention to. You want to get based? You want to be based? Be totally based, bro. Stop taking in other people's viewpoints. Just stop taking in other people's viewpoints. I don't want to know what someone's take on this is or that is. I don't want to know what someone else thinks is important or not important. That's why I talk about like the Richard Spencer video. That's fucking 5 years old. I showed the fucking DC bomber video. That's 2 years old. My point is not to be super, super timely in super current events. But my point is to try to show people how to think about the things they put in front of you, how you can use the tools they use to manipulate you, like video, but by watching something again and again and again and breaking it down piece by piece, you can break down how they're bullshitting you. And then it gets easier to spot that in the future. Why do you need to do that? It's good to be clear. You know what I mean? It's good to be clear and reality based. It's not good to be lost in a fog. You know what I mean? And I realized Judas Fly Chai, big fan of the sativa, cannabis sativa. So maybe being lost in a fog is more comfortable for you, but the rest of us, and there are people here watch the show, they got wives and kids and careers and stuff, and they're desperate to try and figure out what's really going on. And rather than look for a reliable and honest news source, you look at Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson's father was in the CIA. Tucker Carlson's father was like head of like CIA Public Information Bureau, whatever the fuck they had. Like literally, my dad was a spook. He's not a reliable guy. You know what I mean? Unless you want to know what Langley wants you to think. You know, I don't do sativa, only indica. Yeah, that's all way outside my marijuana level. My marijuana experience ended in the 1980s, basically. So there's not a whole lot, there's not a whole lot that I really know other than that people smoke it all the time on the highway. I get behind them and I can smell it in my car, and I always suspect it's the dudes in the little souped up Toyotas. I don't really think it's the moms in the minivans, but who knows? You know what I mean? And plus, people do edibles and do all kinds of other weirdo shit. So who the but if you want to know, how can I tell what's going on? First off, kill your TV. Like, don't watch TV. Get rid of your TV is probably the best thing you could ever do. Best thing that ever happened to me is that I gave my TV to one of my nieces 15 years ago, and I haven't watched the TV since. I only see it when I'm out, when I'm somewhere like in a restaurant or whatever, and I look. There's flat screens everywhere. It looks so bizarre. It looks like something out of a fucking science fiction movie. You're just trying to walk in a building and walk out of a building and do some routine transaction, like the kind of things that I do. And you have these screens, these giant lit up screens blaring at you, sports ball, the stock market, some entertainment thing, Kim Kardashian or whatever. Like it's just constantly blasting you, and you're walking through this, increasingly in places where you wouldn't expect. I went to a pharmaceutical company. They had, there was all the security, all four security staring at this. It was like an entire wall that was a flat screen. And they're like, yeah, this is the biggest flat screen in America. I was at, was that Pfizer? Pfizer was somewhere else. Novartis, I think I was. It doesn't make a difference. And I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, that looks like something out of a Blade Runner. So this is a bizarre and insane world where you're not allowed a moment's peace to think. And what I'm telling you is you need to get away from this stuff, break it down into small chunks, and look at this and think, okay, what lie are they telling me? Why do they want me to think this? And that'll start helping you understand it. But the basic theme is anti-Semitism and racism are the two sins that are so awful they can never be erased by America. So the only way to save America is to burn it to the ground. You know what I mean? It's that stupid meme where everybody's hugging each other. Hooray, we saved the town. And in the background, you see the town's entirely in flames. That meme, they're going to make that come true. And half the subscribers of this channel will literally be cheering, we saved the town, as they burn it themselves. My mom said I can't do sativa. Is that a real joke? Is that some type of marijuana user humor? Some kind of one of them pothead jokes? I don't know. My mom said I can't do sativa. Look at this. Now my numbers are really getting up. Now I've got 5 viewers. But the DNC bomber, we just lost one. Stream snipers, the feds nonstop on this fucking channel. I was just talking with someone, messaging someone who used to be in these circles, or who was certainly aware of Jewish power, but has been otherwise occupied for a while. And I don't think they understand how many people are compromised. You know what I mean? Like Norvin, OV, Bateman. I think they looked at them as like, oh, they're kind of joke people. They're just being extremists. They're just being edgy online. They don't really see that they are commission-driven salesmen selling a delusional worldview to disaffected people on the internet, hoping to turn John Q. Public into, into Osama bin Laden. That's what they're trying to do, and they're trying to do it for a 6-figure reward. They're going to make $100,000 to $250,000 for every terrorism arrest that the FBI gets. And if they get it because you're in the chat and they see you're in this chat and they know what you listen to me, they know what your IP address is. I don't care if you're using a VPN, I don't care what you're using. They know what your IP address is, what the machine ID, which computer you're using. They know all of that stuff. And if your camera's on, if you have a camera, they'll watch you watching this show. If they really want to get you, they could really do this. Just like if they really wanted to catch the DNC bomber, they'd say, hey, who made a phone call at 7:40 p.m. in front of X address? And it would all be over. But the narrative is there are psychos who are trying to slow down the DNC. There are mad bombers everywhere that call themselves patriots, but they're really murderous terrorists. And we have to shred the Constitution. We have to get rid of the First Amendment and the Second Amendment and the Fourth Amendment and the Fifth Amendment and the Sixth and the Seventh. You know what I mean? And we're just going to throw them in jail. Forget about having a trial. Forget about their privacy. That's because why? Because they're trying to destroy America. They're racist. They're anti-Semitic. And, those two things, people are like, oh my God, I don't want to be racist. I don't want to be anti-Semitic. Yes. Burn the Constitution. Throw them in prison without any fucking trial. And people will go for it. And they'll not notice that, hey, wait a minute, that doesn't make any fucking sense because, that doesn't even look like the thing you say it looks like. But that's selective attention. And if you guys like Judas Fly-Chai and the other guys, everybody who's coming in afterwards, the videos I showed in the beginning of the show, you're going to need to rewatch them and take that selective attention test. Watch it yourself and understand this phenomenon has been going on in your life from the day you were born, and it will go on until the day you exit this earth. And you should, 1, be a little more forgiving to yourself when you miss shit, but 2, understand it's a matter of changing what you pay attention to. Changing your perspective will change a lot of things, open up a lot more possibilities for you in life. You will be angry and depressed as you used to be, and you can find a way to live in this fucking madness, because it's going to get crazy. You know what I mean? Once the economy really starts to crash in spring, the Fed's going to have to fire up that fucking money printer, and then it's going to be insane. And then the 2% inflation, which they're nowhere near that. They blew past that. They were never near that. 2% inflation is going to come up 4 or 5% inflation. No, 5, we can handle 5% inflation, and they'll miss that fucking target too. And you will get all sorts of insane behavior. Wall Street cutting all these tech jobs is not because tech has been bad and they've deplatformed people and Twitter was bad and wrong. They're doing that to pump their fucking stock price. That's why they're doing it. Wall Street loves layoffs. If someone is angry or depressed, all they need is Mother Mary Jane. Until, of course, they don't have it anymore. Then they can't sleep, and then they get angry and depressed. I would argue all you need is Mean Mr. Gravity. Mean Mr. Gravity doesn't want you to lift that barbell, but you defy him. You lift that barbell anyway, dumbbell, or you do body weight exercise, push-ups, I don't know, whatever, jumping, squats, whatever. Mean Mr. Gravity, which doesn't cost anything, and he's always on, and you can't get arrested for using them. I don't think you get arrested for pot these days. Will help you sleep as well or better than Mother Mary Jane. That is my conclusion, sir. That is what I have found, because I have done both, and I don't think, Judas Fly-Chai, that you are. I don't think that you are right now in the chat from the Beverly Hills, the Beverly Hills location of LA Fitness. How do I get THC? My mom gets angry at me because we spend too much money on it, and I want to cut it out. Yeah, and Narcotics Anonymous, I guess there's got to be other people who've been in your situation and have made it out. And you looking at what they did that worked would probably be your best strategy. You know what I mean? Me, I was never hooked on that stuff. I never liked it that much. So, I'm probably not the go-to guy for this. Find people who've successfully done what you want to do and then start imitating them. And if that means going to meetings, you go to meetings. If that means making a new social circle, you make a new social circle. You know what I mean? But that's the same way alcoholics do it, the same way, everyone else does it. Fingers crossed, sir. Fingers crossed you achieve the freedom that you deserve. Anyway, so I've gone for an hour and 4 minutes now. It's of course in the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes, that's when the whole audience comes. The first 40 minutes I was basically sitting by myself, screaming into the void. But for those of you guys who came late, the beginning part of the show is what you want to see. You will get the experience of everything I'm describing, and it will deepen your understanding. It will deepen your understanding of what you're up against and what your limitations are, and how you can make them work for you and not against you. Anyway, with that, I'm going to thank you everybody for showing up. Thank you for everybody for coming and commenting in the chat. Make sure to smash up the like button. See the banner there? It says smash up the like button. There's 5 people here. There should be at least 5 likes on the video, or else you people listen. It's not even cost you. You know what I mean? Smash up the like button and pretend you're punching me in the face. I don't know. Anyway, that's it for tonight, guys. I will see you again next week.